Jimmy Kimmel threatening to take Aaron Rodgers to court. You see what I mean when the laughter stops? According to Hollywood Reporter, Jimmy Kimmel has clapped back at Aaron Rodgers after the NFL quarterback suggested his name, Kimmel's, could be on a list of people connected to the late disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. Well, those are fighting words, okay? I thought nothing was off limits when it comes to comedians, but apparently that is. During a recent appearance on the Pat McAfee show, the New York Jets player, is he playing these days? He said there's a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, who are really hoping the list doesn't come out. I'll tell you what, if that list comes out, I'll definitely will be popping some sort of bottle. Hollywood Reporter, again, with the details there. Nearly 200 names connected to Epstein, including associates, former employees of his, and Ghislaine Maxwell, or people who had flown on his planes, reportedly could be released by a New York judge soon. So far, the names in court documents have only been known as John and Jane Doe's. Following Rodgers' comments, Kimmel took to X, formerly known as Twitter, threatening to take Aaron Rodgers to court. Dear a-hole. That's what it said. For the record, I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name on any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft brain wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up, and we will debate the facts further in court. Okay, that's what Jimmy Kimmel had to say. He took a little longer route to say, keep my name out your mouth. Okay, don't connect me with that guy. Rodgers' latest statements appear to be in response to a joke Kimmel made on his late night program last year after Rodgers discussed the Epstein list and UFOs on a previous episode of the Pat McAfee show. Seems to be having a good time with it. But things perhaps got a little too personal. Okay? And that's what it stemmed from. Today, McAfee opened his show by addressing the feud between Rodgers and Kimmel and apologized for being, well, a part of it. In other words, leave me off the lawsuit, Jimmy. My pockets are deep, but not as deep as yours. That is what I interpret it to mean. He said, quote, I can understand why Jimmy got incredibly upset. Yeah, I definitely completely understand that, especially with his position. But, also I think Aaron is like, hey, this guy has said some stuff about me in his monologue, and he's just trying to talk, blank. I don't think he meant anything else, but he's going to have to clarify that for us. So Pat McAfee doing that little, walking that tightrope, I guess you could say, right? That little dance. I need this guy over here, okay? And I don't want this guy over there to sue me. So it's a lot of, well, what do you call that? Romance, jock sniff? This wouldn't apply to Kimmel. I don't know. Whatever the word is for it, Jackson. We can pause if you want and hear your thoughts on it, because this obviously rubbed Kimmel the wrong way, and he wasn't going to put up with it.
Well, and in a few stories, we're going to talk a little bit about some of other people's names who are going to be on that list. But, at the end of the day, this is a pretty big deal. Jeffrey Epstein made a career out of being an international pimp for underage girls. That's what he did. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that being said, making accusations of someone's name being on that list is kind of a line that anyone, who is thinking a little bit wouldn't cross. There's a lot of things that you could say publicly. You can get people riled up, you can get people mad, but when you make accusations, especially when it's something that serious, that can, be under the line of defamation of character. And it can just bring people up in a bunch of discussion and drama that they don't need to be in. So it may be true that Jimmy may have thrown some shade or made some jokes, but I think if you're going to be a public figure, you got to be media savvy, at least to the point where it's like, maybe I shouldn't make accusations to defame somebody's character. Just a good way to keep yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, and you know what they say, leave the jokes to the comedians. You're not a comedian. Not much of a football player right now. Is he still hurt? But you don't want to kind of shift into that lane, because Kimmel is an expert at it. perhaps one of the best because he does it night after night. And Aaron Rodgers does not. He may just think he's funny and maybe has people around him who just want to be around him. So they laugh at all of his jokes. You ever know somebody like that? Where you have to give him the courtesy laugh? It could be that situation. I'm just guessing. But you mentioned Epstein Jackson. As we now know, he ended his life back in August 2019 while in jail as he awaited trial on sex trafficking charges. The Associated Press reported at the time he was accused of bringing several underage girls to his homes under the guise of giving him massages and then sexually abusing them. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's associate, former girlfriend, currently serving a 20-year prison sentence after being convicted December 2021 of helping Epstein recruit and sexually abuse underage girls. Maxwell remains the only person so far to face criminal charges in the unspeakable, really international operation. In other Epstein news, Atlanta Black Star reported former President Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are facing renewed scrutiny following old flight logs showing they both took frequent trips with the billionaire sex offender aboard his notorious private Lolita Express jet. That's what he called it, I guess. 118-page flight log obtained by Atlanta Black Star, which became public during the 2021 trial of Maxwell, circulated Monday on social media. That was a day before a New York court was due to unseal records revealing the names of 175 people with close ties to the deceased pedophile. December, U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska determined there was no legal basis for continuing to withhold the names of individuals linked to Epstein and ordered the documents to be unsealed on New Year's Day. Attorneys for persons named in the documents were given the chance to examine the files before their release and present arguments to keep them confidential. Notably, Clinton's legal team raised no objections to the public disclosure. That, according to Newsweek. Behind the scenes involvement of two U.S. presidents underscored the extent of Epstein's influence with some of the world's most rich and powerful people, despite his sleazy reputation. However, the flight logs do not indicate whether Trump or Clinton landed on Epstein's private island in the Caribbean that served as the base of his international sex trafficking ring. Clinton took at least 9 trips on Epstein's private jet, major global destinations, Paris, Bangkok, Brunei. During his presidency, Clinton hosted Epstein at the White House at least 17 separate occasions. Despite his close friendship with Epstein, Clinton continues to deny any involvement with Epstein's sexual crimes. Targeting, of course, the young girls. Flight records showed Trump took at least 7 trips aboard the private jet between 1993 and 97 when he was a New York real estate developer. At the time, Trump and Epstein were seen as close associates as they were often seen together at public events. Soon to be released court documents, meanwhile, are widely expected to deliver a bombshell as Clinton, Trump, and other prominent names could be potentially exposed as participants in Epstein's double life. But that's speculation right now. Not clear if the documents would implicate the former presidents criminally, although there was growing speculation over whether Clinton would be identified as John Doe 36. Was mentioned more than 50 times in the 2015 civil lawsuit filed by Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre. So a lot going on there, a lot of issues, okay? Now you got Jimmy Kimmel saying, don't you dare look at me. I'm not on a list and I didn't know this dead pedophile, okay? But there's others who seem to be acknowledging that they are going to be on the list of names released, Jackson. Clinton's people are saying they don't even believe there's smoke there. I mean, if that's your friend, there's probably some smoke, something smoldering, but they're saying there's definitely no fire. Should people be afraid? Is it guilt by association when your dead friend happens to be an international sex trafficker? Or, well, you meet all kinds of people, even trash.
Well, I mean, I think when it comes to somebody like a Bill Clinton or anybody in his caliber, you got to consider a few things. One, obviously, he's very powerful. But 2, he's somewhat at the end of his life. You know what I'm saying? Like these people who are in their 70s and 80s, like from a perspective of what do they have to lose, it would be their reputation. It would be their legacy. It wouldn't necessarily be access to money or things like that. But, Bill Clinton kind of already has a reputation of being a ladies' man, or however you want to put it. You can put it however you like, but that's what his reputation is. So this isn't surprising to anybody. But 50 times, that's a lot of mentions. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I guess that if his defense team is saying that there's no fire there, really, I guess that just means they're prepared to win in court. So they're prepared for him to take whatever type of blow to his reputation, because I mean, would it really blow his reputation more than it already is? I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but it's not as if the Clinton legacy is like so grand and super anyway. So, I think people are weighing it like that. But 150 names, man, that's a lot of people.
Mm.
And obviously, there's victims involved in that. It's not like those are, all people who were accused. But still, it's like, what reason do any of these people have to be friends with Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah.
Is it because of his access to banks? No, these people are the elites. They can go get another banker. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can just go and switch partners and go do stuff elsewhere. So I mean, I don't think it's really that good of a look to be seen with Jeffrey Epstein multiple times. I mean, everybody know, even if a drug dealer don't get caught, everybody know he's a drug dealer. Otherwise, he wouldn't
Yeah.
make no money.
Yeah.
So
I think you make some strong points. Not a good look, perhaps an understatement.
yeah.
But then, who would you rather be seen with? Epstein, Suge Knight. Suge's not accused of sex trafficking, but big reputation. I noticed though when you mentioned the reputation of an ex-president, you mentioned Bill Clinton, but I told you there was another guy, 45, who was
Oh
also
yeah, Trump.
said to be,
Yeah.
and you didn't say anything about his reputation. I want to give you an opportunity to do so.
I mean, well, when it comes to Trump, I mean, like when it comes to his base and MAGA, they just won't believe it. Like, so if his name gets dropped, then they'll just be like, oh, of course that's not true. But I
Yeah.
mean, Donald Trump with the whole, I could walk out on Fifth Ave and do my thing and nobody will leave me. That's shown to be true, especially for his MAGA base. But I mean, Trump's doesn't have a good reputation really with anybody. That's part of his brand. So it sticks to him just like honey.
Yeah. As you said, with anybody, I was trying to think, well, about the one son, but you're probably right. When you have, thrown fire in so many different directions, everybody got burned. So we're going to see what happens. This list could be released imminently. So again, but back to Jimmy Kimmel. I suspect, because that's what I enjoy doing. I'm not over here with conspiracy theories, but this is just the way my mind works. I suspect Jimmy put that statement on X, Twitter, but he probably also had his powerhouse lawyers send a communication as well. Probably send a threat, cease and desist, blah, 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 blah. Lawyer talk. And so I'll give you the final word on that. What do you think?
I mean, I think if Aaron Rodgers hushes up and doesn't say anything, then there's really not much of a case to be had. So I don't really suspect much to really come after this. I think Aaron will probably not say anything else, because why get involved in a legal case like that? And in a few days, ain't nobody gonna be talking about it.
Maybe you're right. But he does have thin skin. We know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because of late night. I wish Jimmy Kimmel would make a joke about me. It would mean I made it. Okay. But Aaron
Right,
Rodgers
exactly.
has, right, he's got thin skin. We'll keep following it. As we said, we'll report on the names and we'll let you know if anything seems to be attached to them.